big life changes happens after transition into secondary school, new friendship groups, they're in the social phase. Fail forward, fail fast, fail fun. I think the most important lesson you can teach a child is self-belief.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Daily Coaching Podcast, where we talk to players, coaches and specialists within the world of football and coaching. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by a very special guest. I have another very exciting episode, and personally I can take a lot of information away from this on myself as well as the listeners. I'm looking to introduce somebody today who is an international speaker, is a coach for coaching kids with confidence, is a #1 best-selling author as well with Raw Confidence. I'm delighted to announce my very special guest, Dale Vincent Hancock. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Honestly, really excited for today's one because, like I said, I'm going to be taking away lots of information from this and trying to implement it into my own world as well. So really excited to delve into your story and also try and get some golden nuggets out of you. But Dale, before we kind of start all that, for the listeners who don't know you, just kind of explain who you are and what it is that you actually do.
Well, you've done a pretty good job already, really. I kind of want you to follow me around in the street and just introduce me to people.
Have been actually.
I don't know what your going rate is, but I'm willing. So yeah, hey everybody, my name is Dale Vincent Hancock, and I am the international confidence coach for kids. I like to use confidence as a tool against anxiety and depression or stress or whatever the fight may be later on in life to help them get through that moment, because these moments are going to happen. I say to parents, I say, your boy, let's say, for example, I'm talking to a parent with a son. So your boy, he's got a fight coming. I mean, I know he's only 10 years old, but there's a fight coming. There's a fight coming. And we don't know what it's going to be. It might be when he's 25. It could be when he's 30 or 50, but there is a fight coming with an MMA fighter. And, you know, let's say that day happened and that fight day, they were in the octagon. Who's going to win? Well, probably the MMA fighter, because he's been through all the training. So obviously, but okay, that's cool. So what if now we trained him? What if we helped him skip, made him understand boxing, the techniques, gave him the stamina? He went on runs. He understood nutrition. He was hanging out with the right people. He was understanding mindset. He was watching the correct YouTube videos. It's going to help him grow and thrive with his mindset and teaching the technique and tactics in boxing. He went to the gym and lifting weights, and he was grappling, and he was understanding. He was following role models, and he was getting somewhere, and he was just like loving it. And every single week he was training. That fight with that MMA fighter, of which we don't know when it's going to be, came. He's in the octagon. Now who's going to win? My son. Yes, your son is going to win because he's got all the tools and the tactics to fight this MMA fighter. But in real life, David, MMA fighter isn't called MMA fighter. It's called anxiety, stress, depression, overwhelm, infidelity, job loss, death in the family, a dog dying, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend cheating on them, loss of money, loss of house, homeless. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what shape this is going to be in. But if we can give your son the tools to cope and get through and grow through that moment quicker than expected, then wouldn't that be, frankly, phenomenal if he could? And the reason why I do this, mate, is because when I went through my tough time, I would say that I was being bullied throughout the entirety of my life, and I turned into the bully, which I don't really like admitting. I'm okay saying, yeah, I was bullied, poor me, boo-hoo, give me a tissue, victim mode. But I rarely like saying, oh yeah, I was a bully. Who likes saying that? Oh, I was a bully at school. Who likes doing that unless you're a narcissist? And I do feel very vulnerable saying that right now, but the only reason why I share that is because I thought it might be a good idea to be a bully. So if I threw the first punch, then they wouldn't punch me. If I threw the first verb, they wouldn't throw it back at me. If I was aggressive first, they wouldn't be aggressive to me. And it just isolated me. It just got me all lonely. So throughout the entirety of my life, this was the case, and I kind of simmered that down a little bit. And then I got bullied in my career. I was a teacher for 12 years, and the deputy head was bullying me. And then I went into a few relationships, not all of them. Some of the girls were fantastic, but some weren't so much. And I was kind of like manipulated and bullied in my relationships. And it was only until a certain collection of things happened in my life, which kind of gave me the understanding and the value of life and of change. It's very, very strange, very profound. So over the course of 6 months, and this is in the book, so I'll have to ping one over to you, mate. Over the course of 6 months, I lost my job. There was a staffing restructure. 2 weeks later, I had a car crash. I think 3 weeks after that, I found out that my girlfriend of 5 years was sleeping with other men throughout the entirety of our relationship. Even when we went traveling together, she snuck out of my tent to be with somebody else, then came back into mine. That was not very nice. That stung a little bit. Ego shattered. And I allowed it. I didn't know. I found out at the end of the relationship, but I allowed it to happen. And then a month later, my mum had a heart attack. And I know you want to punch me right now, but I got back with the ex because I was scared and brittle and weak and like wanting that external validation. Basically being a mug. That's all it was. I was allowing it to happen. And I feel like I can say that about myself now from a safe space. And over Christmas, she fell pregnant with somebody else's baby, which again stung a lot. And guess who forgave her again? This guy. And then I found somebody else in my house. It was just relentless, buddy. Just absolutely relentless. And I was very, very low. And it came to a point where I thought, right, I can't do this anymore. You have to go. And I had to find £15,000 from somewhere. Mum and dad helped out a lot. A few friends helped out too. And I was, 15K in debt. And I had to get out of the house. And all these things were just kind of like life was just going, you can have that bit of crap. You can have a bit of that, Dale, have a bit of this. And it was just like, it's too heavy. I can't take it. So heavy. I was just down, depressed. I was just locked in a void of nothingness. I didn't really want anybody to speak to me. I loved going to the gym, mate. Loved it. But I didn't want to go because what's the point, David? What's the point? What's the point in going to the gym? And really strangely, so I say strange because I never researched this before about personal development, but a video of Tony Robbins popped up on my YouTube. It was an advert, and I just thought, and I overheard him speaking, and I felt like he was literally just talking straight to me. And I thought, gee, Big Tony, you're telling me I don't have to wallow in self-pity anymore? Fantastic. Let's break out of this bad boy. And the first thing I did was just go to the gym because that's my safe space. I just went to the gym and that was all I understood. Met a guy who specialized in neuro-linguistic programming. I'm not sure if you heard of that, NLP. Amazing. And the way he was speaking was very profound. And I thought, yeah, I like a lot of this. So I wanted to hang out with him a bit more. I said, do you mind if I train with you, dude? Is that okay? Just so I can, not to train with him, to lift weights, just to hear him speak to me. And he recommended his coach to me. And I got coaching. It was amazing. It was so cool. I went on a NLP course. And I was growing and I was growing and I was growing. And it was amazing because it's almost as if he shone a light in the area of my brain I never knew existed. It was like a dark, shadowy place full of spider webs and cobwebs and broken furniture. And then he shone the light there and I fixed it all up and made it all clean and crisp and nice and lovely. And I was on my way. It was brilliant. I was on my way. And then I thought, there's something else I really want to do. Something I really want to do. And it was to go on a TV game show. And you've probably read this already. And it was called Ninja Warrior. I applied twice, didn't get on. I was a bit gutted. I kept on applying. And they said, Dale, we love your ITV messaged me. So we love your video. Would you mind applying for this show instead? And it was called Cannonball. I was like, absolutely. Where is it set? So it's set in Malta. 100%. I'm there now. I'm packing my bags. And they said, we need to go for the interview phases first. So I'll go through the interview first. I absolutely smashed it. Got on the plane. And I was on the plane all alone, and it was so nice. And I remember thinking, because my coach said, always have the big things and daily things, have 3 intentions. And the first intention was to have a ridiculous amount of fun. The second intention was to meet new people and speak to a girl, because girls, David, freaked me out. The only one that was the best one in the world and the purest one was my mom. And to win. And speaking of my mum always said to me, Dad, I don't care if you lose, as long as you go in there and aim to win. You go in there and you aim to win, not just in this game show, but for sport. When I was a kid, like go in, you aim, you want to win. You go in and win. You do, if you fail, if you come last, I don't care, as long as you aim to do it. So I had that mindset, and it propelled me into like a really crazy self-belief mode of like, I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win this show. And I got off the plane, got on the bus on the way to the hotel, and I thought, you know what? No one knows me here. I'm going to fake confidence. So I got my GoPro out, and I just had it just say, I'm going to fake confidence. Turned it on. Hey, everybody, how's it going? In front of 50 people in this bus. I've got my selfie mode on, looking at myself, speaking to people. They were all smiling, they were jeering, they were laughing. It's like, who's going to win? Oh, you're not going to win. Look at you. Go on, look at this. It's good. And I was just being a bit of a clown, just messing around from a nice place, just joking around. And then we were talking about exercise and who wants to exercise on the beach. And then some girl put her hand up. She said, oh, I'll do it with you. And I was like, wow, Dale, this is your opportunity. You've just spoken to a girl. That's all I want you to do. It's like, okay, cool. My inner coach was like, sit down and speak to her. Turn your goddamn pro off. So, okay, off. And I sat down, I was speaking to her, and we were speaking non-stop for the whole journey from the airport to the hotel. And she did CrossFit. She had a lot of core values. She was friendly. She was kind. She was ambitious. She had a good job. It was really very, very strange. And we got to the hotel, and we all had a lot of fun getting to know each other and stuff. And randomly started kind of beginning some form of a mild relationship with this girl. And I was just blown away. And I thought, it's just a holiday romance. I mean, she's absolutely stunning. And I made sure I went to the gym a lot before then, because I'm going to be on TV, bro, and my top's off, because it's a water-based game show. I'm going to be doing sit-ups for days. I've got to try and make sure that like Zac Efron and that lifeguard thing, Baywatch, didn't, but I was, not too far off. And and it was very strange. And the producers asked me, they said, Dale, who's going to win the show? And I went, well, I am. I'm definitely going to win. I'm a bit arrogant. So it's not, because I haven't put anyone else down. I haven't said, you're rubbish, you're a loser, you're going to lose, you're crap. I've actually said, I'm going to win for me, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to win. And I'd have to send you the videos, buddy, but it was like these giant 3-story high slides. You slide down, you jump up, and you zoom in the air, and you've got to get as far as you can. You've got to put a bubble ball thing on your head. And there was one way you had to go as high as you can. There was one you had to skim across the water. And you had to win one of those to go to the final. And it's a bit of a long story, but to cut a long story short, I won the skimmer one. So I won that one, and I got through a place in the final. I was just like, oh my gosh, there's only 3 of us. This is amazing. Cool. But that amazement just was fleeting. It was like, well, because I knew that was what I was going to do. That I knew that was going to happen. Every single time I tell this story, it does sound either arrogant or it just sounds bizarre, like I'm making it up, and it doesn't sound true. It's false, but it was normal. And I did the show, and it was brilliant. I was there with Freddie Flintoff and Maya Jama and Frankie from the Saturdays, who I just really fancied the pants off, by the way, when I was a kid. She was amazing. So to meet her was great. And the last activity, the final, was to have a giant rope, swing off, land in the middle of this ocean in these certain rings that were ring lights, and you land in the middle. I was basically a giant dart. And the first swing failed, came last out of 3. Brilliant, nice one, Dale, because I was being cocky, and I knew that I was being cocky. I said, I'm going to win this. I visualized it in my mind, I'm going to win this. And I didn't, and I failed. I was like, whoa, let's tone it down a little bit, Dale. And I just chilled out. And the second swing, I was just like, okay, let's go for it. You know how you messed up last time, learn from the fail, and let's go for it. Smack down right in the middle. So I'm now second out of 3. And the final swing, the ring light, this bullseye was moving from side to side. So it was perfect timing. I had to land it. And I swung off and went bang straight in the middle. And it was just so bizarre. And I won the entire show. So it's really strange when I had those intentions and met all of them. It was absolutely amazing. You could say I got the girl, and I won the whole show, and I got the trophy. I didn't get any money though. I didn't get 10 grand, which I was gutted about. I should have applied for a BBC show. Other channels are available, so I'll know that for next time. And yeah, it was fantastic. I did that, and on the plane journey back, to England, I was sitting there and I thought, oh, I wasn't fake confidence. I wasn't faking that confidence at all. That was the real me showing up at last, all those years later. So imagine if I could teach and show kids, boys and girls, and anybody in between, imagine if I could show those people that at that early age, what could they achieve in their future? And who can they become when they get out their own way and have that absolute unstoppability factor in their brain? That was a long statement, wasn't it, mate? Sorry about that. You carry on.
Incredible to hear that. And obviously, number one, listen, thank you so much for being so vulnerable within that as well. But number two, I think, you are somebody who we all needed when we was younger. Some of those things which you're mentioning about, helping children to understand the types of situations which they will be exposed to throughout their life, whether it's now, soon, or further in the future. There will be situations in which they come across and they will need help and guidance from people like yourself who are able to divert them away from those situations, either altogether, or if they come into contact with those situations, divert them into the positive path. And what I find really incredible about what you were saying there is the whole fact which I'm very big on failure, and I see failure as not a negative word. I see it as a neutral word. I don't see it necessarily as a positive, but I see it as a neutral word. And the reason why I'm so big on failure is because I believe that in life, you need to experience failure. You need to experience disappointment. And in doing that, that will help you to become a better problem solver and a better decision maker within situations and scenarios in which you'll come across in later life. And it seems as though, listen, starting out in life, we wish we could never be exposed to, especially some of the situations in which you've experienced. But number one, I mean, it's a bad way to say it. I was laughing pretty much through the whole of your speech there, not because of the situation, but because of how positive and the energy in which you bring, which shows me that actually, would you kind of agree that in a way, having faced those experiences, number one, definitely made the person who you are today, but also has allowed you to, almost in a bizarre way, gain confidence in life and in you.
Dude, without those experiences, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I wouldn't have spoken in Parliament last year. I wouldn't have wrote a #1 best-selling book. I wouldn't receive messages of parents saying, Dale, I can honestly say you've saved my son's life. I am so thankful that experience that I went through, I'm blessed and lucky that I went through that. I'm so thankful that girl and those situations occurred to me, happened to me, because I needed that to be who I am today. It's like, and I know that you've heard this, that you only get the brightest rainbows after the biggest storms, don't you? And you can only forge the sharpest swords in the hottest fire. And the best sailors are not made on calm seas, are they? And plane always needs a headwind to take off. We need these struggles, and I'm so happy that you mentioned that failure is neutral, because it is. I laugh at it. Fail forward, fail fast, fail fun. That's what I get the kids to do. If they hurt themselves, well, not hurt themselves, but if they fall over, and if they hurt themselves, laugh about it. We just made it, instead of sitting there being all embarrassed and being all self-conscious, because guess what? Boom, now you're a target, and people are going to see your little weakness. And when you own it and you get up and laugh and giggle about it, it just switches all that off, because essentially every single person on this planet is a mistake maker. Yeah. Every single one. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake today. I was supposed to be in a school. I was having lunch with the kids and the vice principal. I wanted to get there at 1 o'clock. I got there at 1:10. The lunch was at 1:10, so I made it just in the nick of time. But that was a mistake. I failed because I should have booked a client 10 minutes before, as in like 10 minutes sooner rather than later. So we all got to make those mistakes. And now would love to think that I would give myself at least a 15-minute gap between travel times. It's like, come on, Dale, wakey, let's sort it out. But yeah, dude, I'm so lucky that those experiences, at the time, it was the worst time of my life. But looking back, it was the best time of my life.
Yeah. And again, you see, this is the thing, through experiencing that and through experiencing what you're experiencing now and who you are and what impact you have on people, it allows you to look back on. And that's why I was saying, I think, you're the sort of person that everybody needs as a child, because ultimately we don't see those things. And ultimately as well, the whole thing with mindset, like, even in adulthood, a lot of people have fixed mindsets, and I'm very encouraging of people having growth mindsets because of the factor of, if you have that growth mindset, and it's very hard when you're in those situations and those circumstances, you do tend to have a fixed mindset. It's like, no, nothing's going to get better. No one's going to help me. And, what I had before was happiness, and what I had before was better than what I'm going to experience moving forwards. However, seeing somebody like yourself who's come through that, and I use the word recovery. And again, recovery, some people think, it's a negative word as well, because just like failure, it seems as though, you've gone from a bad place to a good place, or whatever it may be. But actually, recovery is just a part of a mechanism where you have developed, and whether it be an individual or a situation has developed. And what I find really interesting with the whole coaching of kids as well, especially, is because with coaches, typically coach, mentor, the two different orientations. But when you talk about those two elements or those two professions, people typically talk about the coach or mentor having an experience within that sector or that type of industry themselves. But the thing is that with kids, we've all been a kid. So
Yeah.
it's probably the only sector where everybody's experienced it. But using those experiences and also using the examples in which you've come across now, do you kind of feel as though it's a mixture of the two which has benefited you? Or do you kind of feel as though, because you have to have a passion for it, surely, as well as experiencing it along the way?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, actually, mate, because when I first started, I wanted to do, I was in a bit of a mix. I turned into a magpie. So one of the first things I started, buddy, was to give men the confidence to ask women out on a date, because that was something that I struggled with. I couldn't do that, and that I suffered a lot with analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
And then I went on to some more commercial advertisements for social media, and I just felt a little bit lost. I just really wanted to find something to do to make, air quotes, money. And I thought, no, this isn't the way. Even if I did do that, even if I did excel at that, I'm not going to be happy. And this is why it was so, excuse me, but half-assed attempt. And then when for some reason, when I just thought I could coach kids, but what they are? Well, you've already done all the sports. You've done all the sports under the sun. What would you want to coach them? Is what's the most important? I had to sit down and think about this, and it was their mind, because I love how you mentioned Dr. Carol Dweck. Her book Mindset, Growth Mindset, and Fixed Mindset. There's a lot of kids these days that are floating through the fixed mindset, and that's their parents' fault. But it's not the parents' fault, because they haven't had any education in it. So for us to sit here and blame parents is arrogant and all borderline narcissistic, because we're shoving the blame onto them when they have no clue of how to do it. So let's blame the grandparents. Well, oh no, because they haven't had a flaming clue of what to do about that either. So for me, it was finding out the most common areas of where kids struggle, and coaching them through it, guiding them through it, through my own experiences and through speaking to as many parents as I possibly could around the world. I think that you're dead right. The only reason why I am who I am today is because of that tough experience, but also I wanted a me in my life. I wanted to grow into who I am today, who I needed back then. I needed to tell somebody, say, Dan, I'm being bullied and it sucks, man. I'm crying. I don't want to go in school. I'm scared to go into school. Help. Right, this is what we do. Sit down. Da, 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 da. And I go through that's what I want. And I know full well when I have kids, they ain't going to listen to me. So if there's any parents listening to this right now, you have become white noise. And I wince when I say that, because it's so horrible, isn't it? Not all the time, but you become white noise because you say the same things in the same order, in the same tone of voice, with the same accent, day in, day out. Put that down. Don't do that. You should do this. What's going on? What are you doing that for? And all kids want to do is just listen. And I guarantee you, when I have kids, I'm going to find somebody that does what I do as best as I can. By the way, I'm coaching coaches how to do what I do. So I'm definitely going to use one of them. And just ping him or her to them and say, coach my kid. Do it. Because they need that. They need that because, and I'll be quite happy. I'm not arrogant. I haven't got that big an ego for them to say, well, why? Oh, little Charlie, why are you not talking to me for? Why did you not tell me you're being bullied? Oh my gosh. I mean, Dale, get over yourself, mate. They don't need to say that. But if they've got a safe place to speak that to, and they're not harming themselves or they're not harming others, then why do you need to know? You need to know if they're harming themselves or others, but why do you need to know about any of the other things? As long as they've told a comfortable, safe adult, and that adult is being proactive around that, and you are seeing the change, and you're seeing the results, and you're seeing the confidence blossoming, then I'll be the happy daddy. I'll be a very happy daddy. So, yeah, I think I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I kind of went a bit off key.
No, it's perfect. And there's, again, some key points you kind of picked up on there. I mean, I'm very much like that. And I'm very, like you said, it's kind of that battle between, sometimes you look at children, you go, oh, it's definitely the parents' fault. But like you said, it's more so the fact that, again, what experiences have they had? What education have they had? And, again, typically, we are products of our environments in terms of the social aspects which we have, the families in which we have. And it isn't until, I think, again, somebody like yourself, I mean, like you said, typically children don't listen to their parents, or they do, but then also as well, they kind of say, well, you're just my parent, or, you're just my teacher. But I think people like yourself and in the football realm, myself as coaches, we are almost that safe space for these people to be able to reach out. And I think it's maybe because in a weird way, and then teachers go through years of qualifications and things such as that, but they almost see coaches as, oh wow, you must be really experienced, you must be really knowledgeable, when in fact, and it's not to say we're not, but it's in fact, we've gone through these experiences. And I always typically say it goes from pupil to teacher to educator, and that's kind of, I suppose, the path you're on, where you've been the pupil yourself, you've teached or teaching people these different mechanisms, and obviously now, like you said, you're implementing your knowledge, skills, and experience onto other coaches so that they can implement and have obviously a wider effect. But obviously, apart from experiences, what else have you kind of picked up along the way? Obviously, I know you said you attended some courses, but typically people will look at their coaches and kind of think, well, what else do you have other than just experiences? Not always to say that a piece of paper is credentials, but what other kind of things have you picked up along the way?
Yeah, I agree, buddy. By the way, if you can hear any snoring, that's my pug. He's sleeping next to me. It's definitely not me. I'm having a very enjoyable conversation. Just to pick up on the fact that you mentioned about that process from, teacher to educator, pupil, teacher, educator, I just want to highlight something to do with parents. Now, I was speaking to an amazing lady. Two ladies, in fact. We all of us were having the same conversation separately. Dr. Vanessa Lapointe. She's a Canadian psychiatrist. She's amazing. I love her to pieces. And a lady called Kai Graham. She's a specialist teen coach. And we had a massive conversation. And we found out, because they're both parents and I'm not. I'm going to explain why I'm not. Well, you'll think it's obvious, but there's a reason as well. I haven't found the right woman. No one will have me, David. No. So we were discussing that parents from the ages of 1 to 12, coach to the ages of 12 to roughly 16, 17, mentor to the age of roughly 22, 25, definitely 25 if you're a boy, probably 22 if you're a girl, because girls develop a bit faster than boys, as we all know, and then friendship there on after. So parent, coach, mentor, friend, in that order, because you can't parent a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And to be frank with you, most of the the big life changes happens after transition into secondary school. New friendship groups. They're in the social phase. They've got to make new friends. Social media kicks in. A parent cannot guide a child on social media because, first of all, he grew up in a completely different time, and they never had social media when they were 12 or however old. So don't condemn them for wanting to use it. I was working with a boy recently who got absolutely battered by his mum and dad because what he did was he found a key from somewhere, snuck into the cupboard, watched his mum and dad do this, snuck into the cupboard, opened it up, got their spare phone out they don't use, charged it up secretly, locked it, put the key back in the right place, locked it, charged it up, got onto it, created an Instagram account and a TikTok account to take it to school and was using it in school secretly. They found out, they absolutely crucified him. And I said, and when they, because I was coaching them at the time, I said, well, slow down a little minute. Did you ask why? And they said, no, of course you didn't ask why. What's the point? You went behind our backs. He went through, he betrayed us. It's very arrogant. It's very egotistical. Slow down a little bit, all right? He's 12 years old. He's not 30. He's 12 years old. And for a 12-year-old to behave in that way, they're trying to solve a problem. Next time, ask out why. And I already knew because he told me. And I said, do you know why he did that? He said, well, no, because we don't. Because he was being bullied. He was being bullied for not having social media. So, a very intuitive boy, amazing, very crafty, very skilled at doing that, very discreet. What a talent. Oh, amazing. He told me that, and he told me that through not so much shaking lips, but disappointed face, looking down, not wanting eye contact with me because he didn't want to disappoint me. I framed it. I said, dude, you can say anything you want to me. You will never disappoint me. I don't care. I don't judge. I've told you, my past, my history, my darkest moments. I've shared that with you. If I was to judge you, I'm a hypocrite. So just tell me. And he did. And I was just like, and I congratulated him. Dude, that's wicked. That's amazing. High five. That is so awesome, dude. Well done. You've solved your problem of being bullied. That is sick. Well done, dude. Now, how do you reckon we could have went about that a little bit differently? Because obviously, I mean, what are the things you've kind of tripped up on here? Oh, betrayal with mom and dad. Yeah. Will they trust you again? No. Have you lied? Yes. Are they family? By the way, I'll go into families. We do family values and we do family laws as well. Did you break a few family laws just then? Yeah. Dude, I love the fact you did that, but I don't like the fact that you did it in that method. I think you solved your problem, which is great. So to get back on track there, buddy, what to say, parent, coach, mentor, and then friendship therefore after. In regard to qualifications or whatnot, a piece of paper, 100% agree. Oh my gosh, a piece of paper does not mean you're good at anything, doesn't mean anything. Just to get a little piece of ink splodged on a piece of paper in a certain pattern, a certain way, based on another person's metrics, could not give two hoots. However, I can see the validity in it because obviously for me, I wouldn't want to speak to some random person off the streets. I would like that security, and I get that and I respect that. So obviously DBS, 100%. That's a big deal. But I've gone through my whole life of getting training badges, basketball, football, rugby, cricket, gymnastics, trampolining, lifeguarding, all of it. And teaching. So I've got QTS. I'm a qualified teacher. I've got a degree at university, but master level of NLP, and I'm trained certified in CBT as well. So these are the things that I've put together, and I could either carry on getting those qualifications. Oh, timeline therapy as well. That's very good, timeline therapy. I could either continue, but that continuation is going to block me from serving kids, serving people. So I thought, right, is that enough? Yes, it is. Have I got the main ones? Yes, I have. So I thought I'd use that and roll with it and crack on. Another good thing, dude, for validity is word of mouth as well. Like, imagine if you had a kid and he was being bullied, and he's not now, and he didn't use his fist. He could, because I trained him in martial arts as well. Let's say, as I told you before this conversation, he could, if he wanted to. He's got some little weapons on him now, but he didn't. He used his words. and he controlled his mindset to not let it in, to not let that insecure garbage into his head from an insecure place. How do I know it's from an insecure place? Well, who am I pointing at? That's what I was doing. It came from my insecurity. The only reason why I bullied was because I was being bullied. Over 80% of bullies have been bullied in the past. The rest of it, the rest of the percent, they're going through their own situations, which could be home bullying, and the psychological disorders. So imagine if I said that, and your son, boom, never got bullied ever again, because he knew how to control his mind. He knew to save some kids bullying him, and he said horrible things to him. And then he said, dude, are you okay? Well, what are you trying to say? You know, saying those sorts of stuff, that means you're kind of a little bit scarred and a bit delicate inside. It comes from an insecure place, by the way. Do you want to, I can tell the teacher to like talk to you. I'll talk to you if you want. If you want a mate, I'll talk to you. Shut up, F off. Cool. Okay, that's cool. You do what that. I will F off and go over here. I'll give you some space. If you want to talk to me, mate, honestly, I'll be around. Not letting it in, as opposed to F off, mate, back and punching him or crying or shoulders down or looking down, or, you know, you just congratulations, you've just turned yourself into a target. And I wasn't being sarcastic when I said that. It's just that kids have got no training to do. This is why I go into schools and speak in schools, to raise awareness of how to act when you're being bullied. Now, is bullying hitting? No, it's not, mate. Because if I went into Tesco and smacked somebody, what's going to happen to me? Well, I'm obviously going to be arrested. Obviously. So why the fudge are we not doing that in schools? If a kid hits another kid, that needs to be charges need to be pressed. And we need to have that mentality to knock it out of them. And we also need to help the kid that did the hitting, help them through whatever psychological battles they're going through. And it's not to, because if we were to be, oh, that little bugger hit him, oh God, and the teacher, I did it when I was a teacher, when I was a young teacher. I was just like, I absolutely floored this kid for being a bully and hitting another kid, because that happened to me. I went mad at him, top of my voice, lost control. I lost control. I had to have a word with the senior leadership team. I had to have a word with me, but I lost control. But and that would just emphasize that I'm just pouring fuel on the fire. Instead of that, I've learned instantly to just get him to one side and just talk to him and say, look, dude, that's animalistic behavior. You're not an animal, you're a human. You've just been gifted consciousness. You don't have to fight somebody. You have the capacity to make decisions and choices, and that's what separates us from the animals, bro. So something happened for you to do that. What is it? Let's chat. You know, so it's about understanding all of those dynamics. So like I said, dude, if I did that to your son and they were to, and you're happy with the results and you're like, oh my God, son's never bullied again. He's happy, he's confident, he's a leader. He's the head of the football team. He's a team captain. He's organising trips. He's doing this, he's doing that. He's happy. He's got respect. He's got friends after him. He's got girls after him. He's got, you know, he loves it. He's happy, confident, not arrogant. Then I bet my bottom dollar, from when he was scorned and down and depressed to where he is now, you would record a glowing video testimonial for me. I'll give my son to Dale. He's absolutely fantastic. This is where he was. This is where he is now. Unbelievable. I'm so proud of him. He's so cool. This my boys and this and this. Dale, this how. Would I recommend Dale? Puh, absolutely. I would 100% recommend him. If your son's going through A, B, and C, Dale, boom, easy. That's more than a piece of mark on a piece of paper for me, dude.
No, 100%. It's interesting because I done a bit of paper degree, and on that though, one of the things is for me is that, like, I was very kind of closed mindset of that. I thought, look, you know, let me just get a bit of paper. Honestly and truthfully, didn't really think too much about the actual qualification itself, but there was one piece, and I've done this through myself of going out and finding the information, but it's important because you picked up on it there about sort of like, you know, the whole bit of piece of paper, and also as well, you said that you learned from a situation. And it was one thing that sticks out to me. It's called the 70-20-10 model. And basically what my degree was on was, it was about the effectiveness of CPD on grassroots football coaches. And basically what this 70-20-10 model said was that basically we kind of go into these situations, and even probably with coaches as well, and think, right, I want to go to my coach or I want to go onto this course and get all the answers. That's what I'm paying money for. That's what I'm expecting to get out of this closed mindset. But what actually ends up happening is that you get, this model particularly said that you get 10% of your learning from the educator or from the teacher or from the leader. You get 20% of your learning coming from the conversations which you have with your peers or fellow course peers. And 70% of that learning is done by you. It's done by you in your own environment. And what it made me reflect on so heavily is exactly like what you kind of saying there in terms of your early days of teaching, in terms of, you know, the experiences which you've been through, that actually you've taught yourself, you've experienced things. You've, again, like you said, the boy you use as an example, I 100% agreed with everything you said there about, you know, parents would shut them down. How dare you go behind my back? How dare you do this? What an incredible young boy. Like you said, decision maker, problem solver, obstacle hurdler, you know, coming through all these creative situations. And actually, it isn't until, like I said, you go into that growth mindset and you actually experience these things and you understand how to react. Because again, you mentioned there early on in your journey of being a teacher, you know, you reacted and you kind of lost control a little bit by shouting. But as you've gone on, again, some of the questions which you're saying are incredible. You know, why did you do that? How does this have an effect on what you've done, your actions? You know, who else has been affected by your actions? What does this mean for future relationships with these individuals that you've affected along the journey? So I find it incredible with the questioning and how powerful it is. And the point I wanted to kind of pick up on as well and dig a little bit deeper with is obviously teachers, you know, they get sometimes a bad word, and I think, like I said, they do an incredible job, but they're wearing so many different hats. They're obviously teaching various different subjects. And, you know, they've got their own lives as well. And, you know, sometimes it's super stressful. But I think one of the big benefits is what you're able to do is you're able to spend quality interaction time with these pupils and these children on a one-to-one basis. Do you think there's a differentiation between, you know, spending time one-on-one and then also spending it in a whole sort of group environment as well?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, dude. And I just want to clarify as well that the parents that I was speaking to in regard to the boy with the phone in the cupboard, they are brilliant parents. Oh my days, they are smashing. For goodness sake, they inquired into me and they've invested into me, and I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. So it may come across that I was belittling them. It absolutely wasn't, by the way. It was just that I did it in a very friendly kind of understanding way. And I was understanding them because guess what? They've never been parents before. Who has?
Yeah.
They've never been parents before, and there's no perfect blueprint or book for a parent. In fact, if there's a parent called, I don't know, Mary and a boy called John, there's the perfect book for Mary to how to raise John. I haven't seen it. It's in the library somewhere, but it's called How Mary Raises John Perfectly, and doesn't exist. And it won't work for other children that she has. It will just be for John, because they are both bespoke, unique. We are all snowflakes. We are all completely different. So, and also our interaction, we've got difference here with Mary, we've got difference here with John, but that interaction, that relationship is different as well. So many paradigms we've got to go through and grow through. So to answer your question in regard to one-to-one and group work, it depends on the individual. So if I hate labels, but if we're talking about extrovert or introvert, or even an omnivert, which is a collection of both, it would depend on the individual. So if the child would prefer to speak one-on-one, then that works great for him or her. If the child would prefer to work in group with, then that works great as well. But it depends on the amount of attention. So what I like to do is I like to stretch the comfort zone. So my coaching is a tiny bit unorthodox, as it were. And I've said to parents as well, when I have the privilege, and because it is a privilege and honor to coach your children, I will make them feel uncomfortable. I will make them be upset. I will make them be angry. I'll make them be happy, sad, that. And you can be here and watch the whole thing if you wanted to. It's up to you. You know, there's a seat over there. Go and sit down and watch what's going on. But I'll make them cry, and I do, because it's all well and good for the parents giving them to me, and they're in there, oh, it's Dale, yeah, let's swing here, let's do this parkour, let's do basketball, let's do this, let's talk about our feelings. Yeah, oh, Dale's so good. Oh, get home. Oh, I hate you, Mum. It's not fair. So it's all well and good me seeing them in that high state, but I've got to see them in the low state so we can understand how to get through and move away from that low state. There's nothing wrong with that low state. Without the low state, there wouldn't be a high state. Without, if I was to take, if there were just two emotions in the world, happiness and sadness, or let's just put it easy, a good day and a bad day, and I had a magic wand, boom, bad days are no longer. Bad day, there's no such thing as a bad day. Would everybody be having a good day? No, because there's nothing to compare it to. It would just be a day. That's it. So we need the bad to appreciate the good. That's what we need to go through. So talking about stretching the comfort zones, if there was a child that was a bit like, oh, I don't really like talking, well, this is what we're going to do. We know your strength. We're going to find out your strengths, and we're going to bring that to a group setting, just a small group setting, and then we can work around it, and we can see what we do, and then we feedback, and I understand and think, well, how did you do just there? What happened? How did you contribute? When did you feel nervous? Where did you feel it inside your body? What colours pop up when you think about these things? And then the same with a person that just loves the attention, a little bit like me. I went to a big marketing event at the weekend, and I put my hand up every single time someone had a question, because I just wanted to, it wasn't the attention, I just wanted to serve. I wanted to have the mic, and I wanted to like help people out. But it's to bring them away from those eyes and sit them down here and find out the real boy or the real girl, find out who they are. And 9 times out of 10, sometimes you'll find that the only reason why people are being loud and craving that attention is not because they're confident, it's because they're not confident, because they're insecure, and they need that constant external validation. And they don't understand that the true self requires internal validation first before we can gather external validation. And this is why it bothers me so much about social media and TikTok dances as well, where they're just flinging themselves around. There's girls and they're doing silly TikTok dances. It's crazy, and it's all for the likes, it's all for the views, it's all for the followers, and it's just like, and I get it, I do get it, 100% I get it. But I don't know if you've ever seen The Social Dilemma. If anyone's listening to this right now, if you haven't had the chance already, on Netflix, watch The Social Dilemma. Not to be scared, just to be aware, because that is, whoa, that is nuts. What these social media companies do is phenomenal, how they manipulate data to get you scrolling. This is why I'm in the middle of creating a social media course for kids aged between 11 to 14 years old, because there's no stopping social media. It's going to happen. It is happening. There's no stopping it. But what if we could transform kids or guide them into being a producer, not a consumer? And this is where good group work comes in as well. So what have I found? It depends on the individual. Group work or individual, it depends on the individual, and we'll lock them in there for a bit, and then we switch them over to find out who they are in those moments.
No, that's class. And again, some pure golden nuggets there. I loved a bit as well about, like you said, it depends on the individual, because typically in football as well, we always talk about understanding the understanding the person before the player. Typically people think, well, you're coaching football, you need to know about the player. Well, no, I need to understand who this person is, who they are, what they like, what are their constraints, what are their issues, what are their problems, who do they associate with, all these key things, which, believe me, can't be done in an hour. It needs to be done over a longer period of time. But again, linking it to the group stuff as well, thinking over understanding the person, understanding the player, but then the group element of it, you get to see their social skills. I mean, again, like you said, on social media, and it's in the word, people typically think it's, you're very sociable, you have lots of friends, like you said, going for the likes, going for the followers. Whereas ultimately, when you break that person down, again, it might not be, again, even these people who go on TikTok and go on Instagram and all these other social media platforms to gain followers, that again may be a really big insecurity. It may be that they're putting themselves at the forefront in their own safe, comfortable environment to do that because they want attention, because they're not getting attention per se. And I find it interesting. And I think that something like that is going to be massively helpful for people moving forwards, because like you said, it's becoming a producer and not a consumer of these things, and understanding how it can utilize people. I mean, now we've got jobs in social media, which is crazy to think. But obviously you mentioned it there, and I suppose social media being one of the big ones, which I can think off the top of my head. But what would you kind of say are the biggest barriers, challenges, or factors that do affect children's confidence? Because for me, like I said, social media is probably one of the biggest ones, because you see a perceived person of what they look like or how they act. And if you're not doing that, or you don't look like that, or you don't act like that, your confidence is probably not thinking, am I acceptable in this realm or in this setting to an extent?
Yeah, I like that. I do like that. That's a great question. First of all, I love the way you mentioned about the person, not a player. And to do that, every single time it's mandatory, I find out the identity of said child every single time. And it's really cool that you mentioned about social media, because it's like these people are just going to get lost in a whirlwind and an ocean of likes and follows and comments and stuff. And I genuinely don't think they're ready to receive the hate from comments. And when something happens like that, they're so, their resilience level's so, well, not low, but it's never been constructed. So there's nothing there. There's no shield to stop it from going through, which will affect confidence, which we'll get to in a second. But if I was to say to you, David, what's your favourite colour?
I go with green.
Good lad, green. I can see in the background. And so my favourite colour is purple. And when I think of purple, I think of unique. I think of rare. I think of fun. I think of bold. I think of strong. I think of powerful. I think of enthusiasm. I think of chocolate because of Cadbury. You can tell I've done this before. And I think of all these amazing things, all these amazing power words when I think about these things. But also when you just think, if you can think of three, when you think of your green, not just your regular colour green, your David's green, what kind of three really powerful, influential words do you think of for your green? Put you on the spot, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'd say confidence. I'd say, because I think obviously being in this sort of setting, I'm bringing confidence. Doing, I'd say opportunities, because again, getting the opportunity to speak to people like yourself, and freedom. Again, we're having this open conversation of freedom, and we're able to comfortably talk about these things.
I love that so much, mate, and that's very powerful. Now, when we're younger, we don't really see colour until the age of 6 months old. We see in black and white, and when we first learn colour in school, we are learning colour. We know colour, we understand it, and we kind of move towards. We're looking for elements of safety. We're looking for our parents. Then we look for our teachers, and then we look for certain things like a safety comfort blanket on us, a pen, but a comfort, something we find comfort in, and we look for comfort in things as well, such as colours. So guess what? We find our favourite colour. Every kid's got a favourite colour. Some people, when they say that, I never had a favourite, you did. You just forgot it. You definitely had a favourite colour, because that's what the mind does. It seeks security and safety. It's just, the brain's only doing three things: mechanics, heart beating, growing nails, growing hair, growing, etc. Safety, so running away from danger, and the last one it's kind of like when you're asleep, half the brain switches off, processes the day, formulates memories and dreams and stuff, makes sense of things. So that's what it does. And when you've just identified your favorite color just there, when you were a kid, you found that favorite color. I know I did, and people listening to this right now, just have a little think about your favorite color for us. And what I want you to do is I want you to cast your mind back and imagine your journey of your life right now, and just think, oh, when I played that board game, I really wanted to be the green piece for you, David, or I really wanted to be the purple piece. And to this day, David, when I play board games at Christmas time with my family, my brother always bloody picks the purple one because he knows that I want it. Does it to wind me up. Seriously, he's 34, I'm 37. He does it every single time. We're never going to change. So we see, so throughout life, we think, oh, I'm going to be the green piece. I want to be the green piece. I want to be that piece. Or you're playing a certain video game. You want to be that certain green character or that purple character, or clothing. If you've got a favorite certain clothing that you wear, like green clothing. So why is that important? Why am I talking about this for? Well, the reason is because the very fact that we've found a security in that certain color means that we've attached part of our identity to it. So I say this to kids and I say this to adults. The very fact that you've just said, oh, when I think of green, I think of confidence. I think of opportunist. And I think of freedom. You're not thinking about your color green, David. You're thinking about yourself. So David thinks David is confident. How's that feel? David thinks David is opportunist. David thinks David is freedom. And I never want anybody, even if they do feel confident, to not go, oh no, oh really? I don't. Yeah, you do. The only reason why you're doing that for is because you're scared of what other people will think that you're arrogant. You're not. It's self-belief. If you think you're confident, you're confident. Take it, keep it, lock it in. Doesn't matter what anyone else's insecurities is. Okay, we're not crabs in a bucket trying to pull us back down. If you think you're confident, boom, you're confident. And the very fact that you said those 3 words, mate, I'm pointing at you now, means that you feel those way. That's what we do with kids. So that's what I say, right? And when girls, this is so important. When girls, this is almost a bit sexist, but the majority of the time they pick purple or pink or yellow, really nice pastely soft colours, and they say, oh, beautiful, pretty, brilliant. Now, for some reason, there's a massive social, excuse me, that word again, social dilemma recently, where girls are very catty and they're very, oh no, I am the queen bee, not you. And they're so quick to call somebody ugly because it's based on appearance. And obviously, society dictates that girls should be pretty and lovely and men should be hard and rough and get the money in and stuff like that. Thankfully, that's being turned around now, which is great, because I think I'm pretty. I'm only joking. So when they say pretty, it's just like, guess what? You think you're pretty. You think you're beautiful. You think you're strong. You think you're this. So if anybody, boy, girl, man, woman, anybody says any differently, they haven't got a clue, because they weren't there with you when you were 3 years old learning that colour. And that is fact. So you are pretty and you are beautiful and you are amazing. You are strong. So lock that in your brain. And I want you to say it to yourself every single morning. That's your homework. That's all you've got to say. Say it out loud. You say it in your head. You say it in front of the mirror. You can write it down. I don't care. You've got to say it every single day. Every single day. So it's really important to understand their own identity when it comes to living their life, as well as that, understanding their own mode of confidence. So for me, confidence is the opposite of self-consciousness, and to be the hero of your own movie. Now, that's my definition. What's yours? What's theirs? What's hers? What's his? What's there? It doesn't matter what mine is. That's what mine. What do you think of yours? And that's how they operate in their day. Because if you type in Google, you're going to get so many definitions of the word confidence and stuff. Just make it about you. That's what it is. Be the hero of your own movie. Be the main character. Don't be an NPC. Don't be a non-player character.
No, I love that.
Yeah, I got lost in the world there, mate. You originally asked another question. What can you recall? What was it?
Again, listen, this is what I love about this, is that it's like we're taking in myself. Like I said, I wanted to be selfish throughout this conversation anyway, and I'm taking in all this information, also for the listeners as well. But it's incredible. You just need, like I said, somebody like yourself just to slightly tweak and change the perception which you have of words, to make you start thinking and purposely believing this stuff. And it's incredible because it's true. Again, I just pick those words off the top of my head and associate it with green. But like you said, it is, you're thinking about your safe space, your comfortable space, and like you said, your identity. Like you said, people wear typically like clothing and or get a car which is the color in which they like. But again, it's because they associate that with them, and I find that incredible how you've just broken it down, and it's such a wise way of looking at it. So yeah, no, that element of it was incredible. I mean, I was just kind of saying about the sort of barriers or factors that affect that.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Sorry, but yeah, let me jump on that one. Barriers that affect confidence. Well, parents. Yeah. And I'm not here to be horrible, but I think the most important lesson you can teach a child is self-belief. 100%. The most important lesson on this world is self-belief. If I had a magic wand and I could put self-belief in your kid's head, what would they not achieve? Nothing. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Everything. Be a president. What would you keep on going. This is what we need to get that stigma, that negative stigma, away from failure, throw it in the bin and just think, aim for the failure. aim for it. So if you want your kid to be confident, if you want your kid to have self-belief, then you don't sit there and teach them with a step-by-step action plan. Okay, so to be confident, you've got to make 2 new friends a day. You've got to smile at 5 new people, and you've got to walk your shoulders up and your head back, and you never look down. No, that's just a crummy little blueprint that anyone can make on the street. I've just literally on the spot thought that right now, and I'll put that on a social media post and get a load of likes. Yay for me, great. But the most important thing you can do as a parent is to do it yourself. So demonstrate that self-belief. Don't look in the mirror and look down and be disappointed that you've got an ounce of fat on your belly, or that your body's beautiful. The fact that you're here is impossible. You shouldn't be here. Like, the chance of you being born in 1 in 400 trillion. It's incredible. It's so small. If I got 2 million people to stand in the line with a 1 million sided dice and told them to roll the dice, what are the chances of all of them landing on the same number? Like, zilch, 0. And I say to the kids and say, "Oh, impossible, Dale. No, it wouldn't happen." Well, it did, mate, because I can see you sitting there. That happened to you, because that chances is you being born. So for parents that listen to this as well, understand that you're a miracle, and understand that your body is your body and it's your gift. You, every single morning you wake up, and you open 2 gifts, and those are your eyes. You can see. And if you're not completely happy with the way you look, or not completely happy with your job or your friendship circle or your thoughts, guess what? You can change them with a tiny bit of hard work, maybe even a lot of hard work. But I can tell you this, that hard work is worth doing, because you ain't getting anything in this life if it's easy to get. I say to people, if you do the easy things now, you're going to have a hard life back then in the future. If you do the hard things now, you're going to have an easy life in the future. And I wish somebody told me that when I was young, because I was just messing around, drinking, going to uni parties, doing all this. And I've got friends now who are 22 years old, and they are earning 100K a month selling property. And it's just like, I love that. And it's not about the money, but it's about their lifestyle and their freedom. And I love they're doing that. They're impacting the world. It's quality. So number 1 is parenting, modeling, not telling, modeling confidence. Okay, that's the cure away from it. So parents, when they say anything, or they look down, or they just think, "Oh, I can't do it," then your child will absorb that. They learn nothing from you. They absorb everything from you. Another thing is, like you just said before, a poor relationship with failure. They don't like failure. They don't like failure. They don't like to fail in front of people, or look like an idiot. Which leads us on to the next one, which is that external validation. They're constantly seeking external validation, which is great. I'm okay with it. If I went to the gym and somebody said, in fact, I said it today, actually, I'm going to drop this one in now. I'm okay with that. But someone said to me, "I haven't seen you for ages. Oh, you're looking pretty buff, man." So, "Oh, mate, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've been working hard, man." That's nice. I don't live in that zone. I know full well that if I didn't believe in myself and I didn't see value in myself or respect myself, I wouldn't go to the gym. So it's internal validation first. Then when external validation comes in, it's very nice. And I'd like you to pick up on the 4th one, which is very cheeky. I slipped that one in there. Compliment. Taking a bloody compliment. If I said to my girlfriend, "Babe, you look beautiful," and she says, "Shut up." No, I don't. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm lying then, am I? And I leave it. And then next week I say, "Oh, well, that's such a nice dress. It makes your figure look really nice. You look cute." She's like, "Oh, shush now. Come on, stop it." Oh, am I really going to want to give her a compliment again? And then a month later, she'll say, "You never compliment me." I'm like, what? I do, but you didn't take it. You didn't take it. By the way, she takes a compliment. She's amazing. She does take compliments very, 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 very well. So take a compliment. It's like a gift. It's like me. It's the equivalent of me saying, "Oh, babe, here you go. Here's a bunch of flowers. That's amazing." And her saying, that, "Oh, I know I don't look beautiful." It's a bunch of flowers. Her ripping them up in half, throw them in the bin. "I don't want these." I'm like, I would feel so hurt. Or like, "Oh, your dress looks beautiful and you look like a nice figure. You look amazing." I'll buy her a car. It's the equivalent of her getting a key and scratch it down the side and smashing the wind mirrors. It's like, I've just given you a gift. Take the compliment. But don't take the compliment like this. Don't say, "Oh, thank you, so do you." It's like a gift for a gift. Yeah. Like if she gave me a gift for my birthday, am I going to give her a gift back? If she gave me a gift randomly, no. I've booked. She won't hear this, will she? By the way, because it's going to be on Tuesday. No, good. All right. I've booked a special spa day on Tuesday, and she doesn't know about it, and I don't want to give back. I'm not gonna. The next day, I'm gonna be like, "So, I've just got you a spa day. Can I have football tickets then? Can I have a new hoodie? I mean, come on, I'll give you a spa." Doesn't happen. So accepting compliments. So accept the compliment, and if anyone's sitting there waiting for the return compliment, so if you say, "Oh, thanks, man, I appreciate it. I worked really hard for this." Don't just say. Some coaches out there say, "Thank you," or "Thank you, I know." That comes across as a bit sticky. I love it because it means you own yourself, and if anyone takes that uncomfortably and arrogantly, negatively, that's their problem, and I get that, and I'll be okay. If someone said that to me, said, "Oh, thanks, I know," I'm like, "Sweet, I love that." Genuinely, I love that. That's wicked. Love it, because my compliment has landed, and if they believe it, that's great. I would probably recommend saying something like, "Thank you so much. I've really worked hard for it. Oh, you look great in that dress." "Oh, thank you. I think it fits quite nice, isn't it?" You don't need to return a compliment. And if the person that gave the compliment is sitting there like this, tick tock, tick, waiting for the compliment back, "Where's my compliment? I gave it you. Stop it." Then they're only doing it for a gift back, and it's insincere. So, and if you're operating from a higher level, it's cool to say, "Oh, so do you." But to do that more, the secret in this area to do that is to compliment other people, is to see other people. "Oh my gosh, your eyebrows look insane." And if they go, "Your hair looks so nice. Where do you get those shoes from? They look decent. I like them. Where do you get them from?" "Oh, yeah, they suit you really well, actually." If you give compliments and get used to it, you won't need the need to receive all the compliments back, but you'll find you will.
Yeah.
And even if you wanted to correct them, if you want to say, "Oh, I love the shoes," say, "Oh, thanks. Your shoes look nice as well." I said, "Dude, I genuinely like the shoes. I didn't need you to say, I like my shoes back. That's cool. I just want to say that's it." So you can kind of guide people around that, and then they might get a bit, "Oh, well, I didn't understand that," but eventually they'll get it, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And if you want to explain the way I've explained it, that's absolutely wonderful as well. But it's also stretching the comfort zone and having I think we're on the fifth one now. So the comfort zone stretch. So just being nice and cuddly in our little comfort zone and not veering out of it. You've got to step out into the danger zone or the stretch zone or whatever graphic you see on social media these days. As long as you break out of it, and it could be so simple. It could be going for a run. It could be going for a walk. It could be looking at people, making 5 people smile. If you've got a problem with social anxiety, then you can go to maybe push yourself. Don't go to the Tesco down the road. Go to a big one a bit further on. Or if you're getting checked out if you've got a problem with communicating with women and you're a guy, let's say that you're a heterosexual guy and you want to speak to more girls, then go to a checkout lady when you're buying your food and just say, "Are you having a nice day?" "Yes, thank you." "Oh, good." And then you break in conversation like that. Talk to people. Try and make 5 people smile. If it's football, practice a new skill of like I don't know, step over or whatever, Cruyff turn or whatever, practice it and do it in a game. Do it in a game. And we go back to number 2, which is bad relationship with failing. Did you fail? Good. There's not enough confidence on the pitch right now these days because kids are too scared to look harsh, to look bad in front of their team players. They don't want to let them down. And I respect that so much. But you've got to take risk and you've got to stretch that comfort zone. And I think a lot of kids on the pitch in any game, not just football, in any game, need to lift each other up. And if they're over passionate and they're all like, "Oh, you missed that goal," then they need a guidance. They don't need a stern talking to. They need a guidance of how to lift each other up. So there's many different ways of how we can build confidence. And I think another one is, well, you're going to annoy people, David. You're going to pee people off in life. Trust me, it's going to happen. And people are going to be annoyed with you for no reason at all. I speak to the famous jeweler, and he made a perfect diamond ring. And I put it all on the computer, on TV, and every single person in the world, all 8 billion of us, saw it. What percentage of people are going to like that? 100%? Fudge no. Of course they're not. So be comfortable with not getting on with everybody. You don't have to get on with everybody. And if people give you a hard time, that's okay, because that's a projection themselves. There's a concept in psychology called perception is projection. And if I was to call you an idiot, David, right now, then I've got to see idiot behavior in myself. Have I been an idiot in my life? Well, I've been on this planet for 37 years, so definitely. If we were to have a boy in a room from birth, locked in a room, and then for 10 years, and he was, he was being fed, he was, whatever, learning and stuff, and then we took him out and put him into a primary school, year 6, and he was with a group of people, would he call somebody a swear word? Would he call them an idiot? No, he wouldn't, because he's never experienced that. So when you experience it, when you do it yourself, that's what it is. Perception is projection, and it works the way around as well. Nice things. If you say nice things to people unconsciously, you think that about yourself as well. This is why I always give 5 compliments a day and try and make 5. I say, no, not try, do make 5 people smile today. Today I went into a school. I didn't count, but I had 30 kids come up to me. And I was being silly, I was joking, they were smiling, I was fist bumping, I was talking about food, I got some free food in the cafeteria. It was amazing. Nailed it. Yeah. So those are the top ones just there, buddy. I hope that helps the audience.
Yeah, no, 100%, that's class. And it's interesting because a lot of those points you made there, I think bar the parent one, it's all to do with self. And actually, it's again, because your role as a coach and obviously the duties and responsibilities of these people around children as well, to, like you said, help guide them there. But yeah, bar the parent one, it's all to do with self. And like you said, in terms of, I say this often within coaching, like within football specifically, but I always say to coaches, well, you always say well done to players. How often do you say well done to yourself? Hardly ever, if ever at all. But it's always, I wish I could have done that, or I wish I could have done this, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. But hold on, you said well done so many times to players. You don't always go to a player and say, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, you could have done this, and you could have done that. So it's having that sort of, rather than having the self-validation from somebody else, have it with yourself. Say to yourself, well done. Do you know what? I've done well today. Like you said, if you said set yourself a task of, writing out 5 compliments or 5 good things within a day, do that and then say, well done, I've achieved it. Like, I'm a big believer of goal setting and sort of achieving goals, because for myself, and again, I suppose that goes down to the individual, but once I achieve something, it makes me feel really confident. And because I know that I've set out to do something, I've had a task in front of me, I planned how to go about that task, and then I've achieved it. So I think that's quite interesting in that aspect. And then the point as well, which you made about sort of the sort of element of seeking out from other people and using kind of other people as well. I think that aspect of things is interesting, because a lot of the time, people's, like you said about the projection element of things, people do it again because it's of what they've experienced within their environments. So I kind of feel as though these people will experience things, and like you said about swear words, say for example, people will hear it. But again, it's the perception of and the understanding of, when do I use that? Where would I use that? And why don't I use that? So yeah, it's incredible. A lot of that was so much self-taught and self-enhanced and self-experienced. And actually, it just needs that guidance and that support and those supportive mechanisms to help that person get there. And in football, we call it a thing called guided discovery. You talk like telling people to do stuff. You don't tell them it. You help them and support them. Yeah, exactly that. It's that guided discovery element of, I want you to find out the answers. I want you to find out the solutions. I want you to understand why it has worked, why it hasn't worked. And yeah, I find, like I said, just that incredible, the whole self aspect of it.
Yeah, well, that's who we control. I think another thing that people need to be aware of as well is, this isn't for confidence, this is for like relationship building, but not being attached to expectation.
Yeah.
If I expected you to, not have a hat on or wear a shirt, or if I expected Oswald not to snore during this, interview, like, I'm going to be sorely disappointed in life. The only thing that we can be truly reliant on is our thoughts and our behaviors and the way that we perceive things, because the information is not only just coming through our eyes from the world, it's our eyes that are interpreting it. That's not a word, interpreting it, and outwardly.
Yeah.
So it's the filter that we see the world in. It's the filter, and that filter is just come from, like you say, religion, experiences, parents, grandparents, peers, school. And if depending on our experiences will depend on how we see a certain situation. Like, I'm expecting a new car, and it was supposed to be with me November, and I was looking forward to it, and just got a message saying it's going to be January. And in the past, I would have been like, "Oh, for F's sake, it's cost so." But now I'm like, "Well, it's happened. Can I control this? No. Well, why be angry about it? Can I control this? Yes. Well, why be angry about it? What's the point? So it's about just having checking in with your filter system and understanding that you control you. And that's like, that's sometimes enough to set people free, to make them think, you know what? I do control me. I do control me. I can control my thoughts, my behaviors, my education, my network, my friends. I can control that. And if I need to let friends go, so be it. I don't want to be a people pleaser. I want to let them go because I don't deserve that, or I love them and I'm just going to let them go and move on.
Yeah, no, 100%. It makes you believe that you as an individual can make these things possible as well, and again, through that help and guidance which you give. Listen, Dale, there's been some fantastic pieces of information which you've given out here so far, and obviously, again, it's incredible to find out your experiences, which in my eyes gives not only just from how you speak and how I've heard you speak on Clubhouse, but also gives the validation and the justification as to why you're doing what you're doing and how you do it as well. Sorry. But what I'm really keen to understand is kind of, you're on this journey now. What, looking back so far in terms of what you've done, both the internal, so for yourself, and the external in terms of the people that you've affected, has been sort of the biggest key achievements to date? And if there's one sort of takeaway method or strategy which you could kind of give for people who have been listening to help children in gaining confidence, kind of other than what you've already explained about the sort of different steps that you would potentially take or overcome?
Yeah, that was a big one. So the most profound, it's very simple, mate. There's loads, but the one that always sticks out in my mind is when the first time I cried my eyes out. Oh, I cried. I get a bit emotional thinking about it now, still to this day. But the first time that I received a message from a mum saying, "Dale, I honestly believe you saved my son's life," just like, what more do you want? What more do you want? People say, "What would you do for free?" This. Unfortunately, I have to put an investment in it because I need to live in a house. But if I could do this for free, I would just do that. And I try and do as much as possible. I've opened up a charity to help out as many kids as possible. I go into schools. I put an offer into schools to say, "Look, I do a free assembly for you." And some of them some of them take it. Some of them are just like, oh, we've got a structure already. I'm like, and it's okay, because that if I was to say no, get me in, that may come across as a very egotistical point of view. But every single school I've been in, I just get the raves off the kids and the teachers, in fact. So that instant just there. And personally, I'm going to drop it in, dude. So the reason why this means a lot to me is because my book, because I'm dyslexic, and I said to someone said, Dale, you should write a book. And I said, don't be, I'm a stupid idiot. I'm thick as, I can't write a book. And at that instant, bang, because my mindset changed, it's very growth, I had to write a book. I had to prove myself wrong. I had to prove my little chimp or my little guy on my shoulder wrong. But I wasn't harsh to him. I said, it's cool, dude, we can write a book. It's all right. No, don't be silly. We're going to get mistakes. Yeah, of course we are. But we're mistake makers, so it's good. So writing that book took a very long time, and I'm very proud that it got to #1 bestseller on Amazon for teen child mental health category, and it went as far as Hawaii. And speaking in Parliament as well, that was cool. Really enjoyed that. I was speaking in Chicago too. That was a lot of fun. So I want to do a lot more speaking, actually. So takeaway, definitely. But hear what I said about the identity, with the identity colour task. So revisit that, because that's so important. When a child understands their own identity, and through their colour, through their words, their power words, that will automatically improve your confidence with with using the affirmations in the morning as well, by saying, I am this, I am that, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful. And for me, I'm trying to think of, if I was an 11-year-old boy again, what would help me with my confidence? If you could, definitely a martial art. Definitely do a martial art if you can. That instills confidence. And what else would I benefit from? I'm going to move slightly do a slight sidestep and talk about emotional intelligence, because I think that's quite important when it builds confidence. So I would play the Skittles game, whereby you get a bunch of Skittles, great for the whole family. Put the Skittles in a bowl, and you close your eyes and you pick out a colour, and whatever the colour it is associates to a certain emotion, and you share a recent memory of that emotion. For example, if I pick out a red one, I look at that, I've got to share an angry emotion. Okay, the other day I was walking in the car park in the park with my dog. Some dog did a poo and he didn't pick it up. That really peeved me off. I was so annoyed. Rah, rah, rah. And then the parents can dig into that if they wanted to. Say, do you want to talk about it more? And you say, no, I'm okay. I was like, cool, you get to eat it. So you get to eat it. Green is disgust. So share a disgust memory, probably the same memory. Purple is fear or sadness. You can have a choice. Yellow is happy. We're going down the inside out route with the Disney movie. And orange is excitement. And those are all the colours, but you can get some different colour Skittles as well. And what that is good at doing for is it brings the family together. We put the phones down and we have a talking time. We just chill and talk, and in fact everyone does it. Is amazing, and we can build on from that as well. So we can say, well, how can you're angry? What happened? Well, I hit him. Okay, so how do you reckon we could do that better next time? Or I was really happy because of this. Oh my gosh, so how can you make sure that happens more? Well, I'll do this. So I would talk about when a person builds emotional intelligence, again, they have more control of themselves. And when they have control of themselves, it builds up courage, it builds up confidence. And my final thing, dude, fear has a big brother, and his name is courage. You cannot beat fear. You cannot build courage without walking through the door of fear. You have to walk through fear to meet courage. And when you do, that fear goes away.
No, that is class. Honestly, love that. Well, love the last quote you just said there. Definitely stealing that. We'll give you credit for that though. And also the skills element, I can definitely even see that being transferred, say, for example, into a football coaching world where, you pick different colours and you have to, like you said, react and say different emotions. And that Nobody gives the players ownership or gives people ownership, especially the Skittles element of it as well. You actually get to eat it, you get to pick it out, eat it, and obviously share as well. I honestly love that. And I think just throughout the whole conversation, I mean, obviously, like I said to you before, and people will be aware that obviously I will connect with you on Clubhouse. And I hear you speak daily, and the way in which you have an energy about you and the way in which you actually say your messages, but like you said, it's not for any other reasons except for wanting to give people value and to inspire, educate, and empower people. And I feel as though that throughout this whole conversation, that's what you've done. And honestly, it has been an absolute honor to have you on here, but also it's been so interesting. And I don't say that lightly. It has been honestly so many golden nuggets, so much information, and I'm hoping that people will take stuff away. But yeah, honestly, Dale, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, cheers, bro. Thanks. And listen, I'm going to take that compliment, but I'm going to go back on what I said. I'm going to give you a compliment. Oh my God, Dale's such a hypocrite. Because on a serious note, dude, if it wasn't for you, I mean, I know you've interviewed a lot of big players and a lot of good coaches, ex-players, current players, coaches, experts in their field. And I think you are the avenue to get that information to people that originally would never receive it. So it's like you're an oracle of sorts, so like a stream of just getting people in, like opening people's mind to the matrix. You're Morpheus, and I think that's really cool. So you've got a lot of responsibility, mate, and you are using it incredibly powerfully. So thank you for your time, mate, and thank you for having me on. It's an honor, and cheers everyone for listening.
I appreciate it. And Dale, just before you do go, again, put up your book for me, please, and tell people where they can access it, and obviously get some more information from yourself as well, because I really want people, not only from this obviously podcast episode, but also afterwards, to understand how they can access more of this information.
Yeah, cool, dude. Awesome. So the book is called Raw Confidence, 8 Warrior Paths to Success and Happiness They Don't Teach in School. It's a long one. And that's on Amazon. But the best place you could probably find me is Instagram. So that's Dale Vincent Coaching. The best place you can find me, or Clubhouse if you're on Clubhouse. So it's just Dale Hancock. Vincent's my middle name, and I use it to empower me because I got teased at school a lot for that. Despite being my last name Hancock, I mean, I thought that was an obvious one, But anyway, people tease me for Vincent, so I use it to empower me. I said Dale Vincent Coaching on Instagram. And I am genuinely looking for teachers and educators and coaches to learn what I know about understanding a child's mindset and getting the best out of them. So if you are interested, just please send me a message saying kid coach, and I'll help you out as much as I possibly can, because I think it's far easier to build a strong kid than it is to fix a broken adult. And I think if we can do that now, we can empower and change many lives, and incidentally change our world and change planet Earth, and also have them impacting their younger generation as well. So it's like a ripple effect through time.